if that could be a barrier to trusting. The entitlement, the ungratefulness of you owe me this, you didn't come through in the way that I wanted you to, so even though you rained down manna, what is this?
Right. Well, I can live.
What's poppin', beautiful people? Welcome back to Kingdom Prototype, the blueprint for abundant living. I'm your girl Lex.
I'm your girl Jazz.
And welcome back, beautiful people. All right, y'all. I gotta relax. We are jumping into a new series called Trust Issues.
Woo! Yeah. How many of us got that?
Listen, I want to sing a song, but I just don't know the words to.
Just make up your own song.
I got trust issue. I don't know whose song that is, but I guess that's
yours now. I am dying.
It is mine. Now there's a song, so we just gonna go with it. We got trust issues, and that is a great question. How many of us walking around here, going to church, knucking and bucking, y'all about to get mad at me, doing our day-to-day religious deeds of devotion and spending time with God, and I'm in church and I listen to my little gospel music, and I pray, but I don't trust God.
Right.
I got questions.
So many people. And I just feel like, probably get ahead of myself, but it's okay. I feel like it's because a lot of people don't really spend enough time with God. Think about it. How can we trust somebody that we don't know?
Yeah. We get caught up in the busyness of the world. And so now our time with God becomes just a checklist.
Right.
I'm going down my checklist and I'm just checking the box. Spent 10 minutes with God, spent 30 minutes with God. Okay. I could go on about my business, going about my day to day. But in that time that you spent with God, you probably spent 29.5 of it
complaining and venting. Yeah. And we talked about this before, but I think it's important for us to go back to it. It's a dialogue. It's a two-way conversation. So I feel like a lot of people I spend time with God, but how, like you said, how do you spend that time?
Yeah. I got questions.
Yeah.
I got questions.
Because it matters.
Yeah.
It makes a difference.
Very much so. And you know what? Let's just flow. Because one thing I have been thinking about, just kind of meditating on, is we don't know how to pray. I know I just said that with my chest. I'd be like, I'm curious if. But I really feel like, especially in this generation, we really truly don't know how to pray. We truly don't know how to approach God and spend time in His presence, because we are consumed. I know we did an episode on this, but we are consumed with God being our little friend. That makes sense?
It does.
Yeah.
It does make sense. And I also feel like, to add on to that, we also hear other people praying and we think our prayer is supposed to sound like theirs when that's not always the case.
Yeah.
So I feel like it's a lot of copy and pasting. It's not prayer is not like a cookie cutter process. It's not one way to pray.
Yeah.
And I feel like when you approach it that way, you wonder why you walk away still feeling powerless and what I just spent this hour doing.
Yeah, very much so. Looking crazy.
Yeah. And the Bible tells us that. It tells us something along the lines of basically don't continue to repeat words thinking that you are heard simply because you're being repetitive.
Yeah.
So it speaks to that, because I do feel like that is an issue that a lot of people don't know how to pray.
Yeah, very much so. So we're copying prayers, and then we just got to go back and do that again, and then we're approaching God as if He's our best friend. So now we spend the whole hour just kind of laid back with our feet kicked up and God, let me tell you about my coworker. Okay, I want to punch them in the face. And and it's unproductive. Y'all, I just stepped on some toes.
It is. It is unproductive, because I feel like we walk away not getting what we needed. So I agree.
Yeah,
I do feel like it's unproductive.
We walk away not getting what we needed, and we don't walk away feeling empowered because we didn't fight it. We just complained about it. So we stay on I feel like we're in a generation where we stay on the defense. and we never take, we never go on offense. So we're always reacting to life, reacting to the darts that are thrown. Okay, I feel this thing. Reacting to the darts that are thrown. I don't know what this got to do in this. Reacting to the darts that are thrown by the enemy, and like all we're doing is reacting, and we're never attacking. And then we wonder why we're so tired. We wonder why we're so full of anxiety. We wonder why we're depressed. We wonder why all of these things. But we live our lives on the defense.
That's good. That's good. And yeah, so we need to learn how to pray. It's basically what we're getting at. But that's really good, because knowing how to pray, again, having that two-way dialogue, it allows you to really get to know God. The more time, obviously, you spend with God, the more you're able to get to know Him. Mm-hmm. So when things, aren't going necessarily the way that you want them to go, or whatever the case may be, you still trust God because you know Him. I mean, it sounds simple, but it is that simple. Yeah. The more time you spend with Him, the more you be able to know Him. So when different circumstances when you hit different circumstances, you have something to stand on. Yeah. Because you know God.
Yeah, very much so. Like, y'all, this is not rocket science. And I feel like the more and more I go deeper with God, the more and more I realize that this stuff is not rocket science. It's not that deep. Like, we're in this generation as well where everything gotta be so deep, and I got chills,
and you gotta be woke, and you gotta be like, we live in a very woke generation.
Right. So what, we sleep?
Right, I'm slumbering at this point, and God's like, no, go back to the basics. Like, it don't even take all that. So yeah, I agree. I do feel like that is a hindrance in this culture.
Right. And it's just like, can we get ourselves together? Because we don't got time. Because we just don't got time for this foolishness. Right. Like, we just don't got time for this foolishness. And I need us to, I don't know if I need us to wake up or go to sleep.
I am weak. Right. I don't know. Because we can't, because woke has a different meaning. Yeah. So I don't know. We might need to take a little nap.
Right. Like, take a nap. I like that. We napping. Yeah. Like, we napping. Okay. We are napping. And
what?
Because it just irks my nerves. Because we so woke, but yet we don't even trust God. Like, it irks my nerves, because we go and we shout and we speak in tongues and we dance and we run around in the church, and then we go home and we powerless, okay? And we go home and we're not fighting, and we go home and we're just like, oh, life is great, and like, we aren't living to the standard and to the level that God has called us. I feel like I can relax. That God has called us to live in, and it just irks my nerves. And many of us don't even realize it, which
that's the sad part.
Pisses me off even more. Can I say that?
Yep. You said it. That's true. That's true, though. And another thing I feel like causes us to lack trust in God, and maybe a reason why we have trust issues, is because we catch amnesia. We don't keep track record of what God has already done in our lives. So as we were preparing for, to film our episodes, and I was coming up with my part of the content, I was thinking, I found it interesting that God kept telling the Israelites to remember what He told them. Because first of all, can we talk about how they forgot everything? Yeah. Like, He would literally make water come out of rock, and then they turn back around like, are you trying to kill us and our livestock and our kids? And like, He literally just miraculously made water come out of rock. But we look at the Israelites and we go, come on, like, really? But we're the same way. Yeah. Like, in certain cases.
Yeah. And I'm curious as to if it's because He hasn't come through in the way that we want. So because I have a way of how I want you to come through for me, and you haven't met my perspective or my expectation of how I thought you should come through, now I just disregard what you did because that ain't what I wanted you to do.
That's really good, actually, because going back to the Israelites, when He gave them manna, they're like, what is this? they like, what is it? Like, we asked for bread. What is this? So when He gave it to them, they didn't even they totally forgot about it because it didn't match what they had in their head. They was expecting like, you know, a loaf of bread, or, you know, Jesus wasn't on the scene just yet, but you know how Jesus took the bread and multiplied it and everything. That's what they were expecting. So when they got this manna, they were like, I know you lying.
Yeah. And you know what that screams?
What?
Entitlement.
Yeah.
You know what that screams? Ungratefulness. That's the word, right? Ungratefulness.
Yep.
Yeah, I know. I just yeah. And we are in a generation. We are in a society where we are so entitled.
Right.
We think we are entitled to these things, that God owes us something. That by spending time with God, we're doing him a favor. Okay, by praying, we're doing him a favor.
Right.
Okay, we are so entitled. And I could go ahead.
That's good. And man, we're literally so in debt with God. Like, it's impossible for us to be able to pay him back. But that's the whole purpose of the Bible, because he's intervening in the world to rescue us. Like, there's nothing that he don't owe us anything. If anything, we owe him. So we owe him everything. Right. So that's good. Like, that's literally what the whole Bible is about. Like, God coming through for us and rescuing us. Yeah. So yeah, he don't owe us a thing.
Doggone thing.
Yeah. So we got some nerve.
Yeah. So we. So we got some nerve. And I'm curious, okay, if that could be a barrier, you better, come on, Holy Ghost. If that could be a barrier to trusting, the entitlement, the ungratefulness of you owe me this, you didn't come through in the way that I wanted you to, so even though you rained down manna, what is this?
Right. Well, I can literally imagine their face being like that. Like, what is it?
Right, like, just, like, sir.
Yeah.
And because they were entitled and because they were ungrateful, now they can't trust him, even though he's right there in your face. Literally. Because I'm entitled. Because I feel like you owe me. Because I feel like you're God, so you can do better. Right. I deserve better. I go to church every Sunday. Y'all about to be mad at me. I spend time in your word. I pray. I pray in tongues at that. I dance. I shout at that. I paid for somebody's gas.
I'm on the praise team. I'm serving in the church. Yeah.
So you owe me.
I'm preaching in the word. Like, yeah, that's true. Ooh. That's very true. Yeah, I can definitely see that being a barrier for sure.
Woo.
I can definitely see that being a barrier. Because it's like, when you feel entitled to something, you got your mindset on a certain expectation, and when that's not met, it's like, oh, okay, so I'm not going to trust you no more. Right. Because you ain't come through for me the way I had this in my mind, so you untrustworthy. Yeah. And it's like, it's crazy. Yeah. And I see why Moses was just like fed up with the Israelites. Like, they're the perfect example.
No, they really are.
Of not trusting.
Yeah, very much so. And it cost them everything. Their lack of trust in God cost them everything. So what is your entitlement costing you? I got questions. What is your ungrateful heart cause? I feel this thing, because as of late I be in prayer and it's just like, God, all I got is a thank you on my lips and a heart posture of gratitude, because you don't have to. Right. You don't have to expose yourself to me in the way that you're exposing yourself to me. Okay, like, you are perfect, pure, like, we peasants.
Literally. And first of all, you didn't have to wake me up. So last night when we was on a Zoom call, one of our favorite prophets, like, that really resonated with me. Because of course, you know, during my prayer time, I'm always conscious to make sure I thank God for life, for just everything in general. But she really honed in on the importance of gratitude. And just how every breath we take is a gift. Yeah. So, yeah.
And I'm curious as to if we are entitled and if we're ungrateful and if we take life for granted because we're in such a, I don't know the word I'm trying to say, but a strive-worthy, success seeking type of society. Where it's like, I gotta get me a house. Okay, can we talk about it? I gotta get me a car. Okay, I gotta build my 401k. I got a business. Okay, I gotta get married. Okay, I gotta have these kids. Okay, I got to make sure I travel the world. Like, you get what I'm saying? I'm not saying that there's anything wrong with those things. But what I'm saying is we need to check our priorities. Where is this coming from?
I don't know, but it actually goes in perfectly what you said, holding on so tightly to what we want.
What is it? Go ahead.
Right? When you dropping gems and you don't even remember, holding on so tightly to, the things that we want. We want to be married. We want to travel the world. We want to do this A, B, C, and D. Like you said, there's nothing wrong with it, but not giving God room to be God. Not giving God room to move around in our lives and show himself to us. Yeah. So yeah, I do think that's important.
Yeah, very much so. And I have on here that maybe God isn't allowing your plans to come to fruition the way that you thought, because he wants to show you that his plans are better. Like, have we ever sat down and asked God, what is it that you want from me? Do you want me to be married? Do you, y'all about to be mad, want me to have kids? Do you want me to travel the world? Do you want me to own businesses? What do you have for me? I got questions.
And that's good, because it's like, I feel like a lot of times we don't, because we don't trust God enough to receive the answer. Mm-hmm. So, you know how, like, when you really trust God, you go to it and you like, okay, whatever's your response, I'm gonna roll with it.
Yeah.
Like, I may not agree with it, may not like it, but I'm gonna roll with it. And I feel like a lot of people, they just kind of avoid his response altogether, because, it's kind of like, you tighten up, like, okay, what he gonna say? He gonna say, no, I don't want you to be married. No, I don't want you to have kids. Don't want you to travel the world. I want you to strictly do this, in ministry, or whatever the case may be. And I feel like that caused a lot of anxiety and a lot of unnecessary stress, because we don't trust God.
Yeah, that's so good. Yeah, that's so good. So we don't want to sit and find the answer because we don't trust him, because we don't trust that his plans for us are good.
Right.
As you're talking, I just think about this scripture that says, it's somewhere. LOL. Proverbs, Psalms, one of the two. And which one? I do not know. But it says that he gives us the desires of our heart. And I think sometimes we take that to mean that, I have this list of desires, right, and he's going to give it to me. And yes, that is part of what that means. But it's also, he gives us the desires of our heart.
I feel like we need to say that like one more time.
I bet what I said. So he gives us...
We really need to hone in on that he gives us.
Yeah. And we talking about Jesus. Okay,
right. Be specific.
Let's break that thing all the way down. That God, Jesus Christ, Holy Ghost, okay, the Trinity, okay, I'm doing the most, gives us the desires of our heart. So maybe he wants you to go live in Timbuktu, right? Like Montana. Right. I'm just gonna think, no offense to anybody who lives in Montana. I'm sure it's beautiful.
It is.
Okay. But I do not desire right now to live in Montana. Correct? But if I ask God, what do you have for me? And he says, you move to Montana. Right. He will give me, I will allow him to work on my heart, work on my mind, so that now I can desire to live there. And when I get there, I will enjoy it, because he gave me the desires of my heart.
Girl, you better preach. No, that's good.
I'm screaming.
I feel like we just need to like sit in that for a few seconds.
I bet. Silence is my jam. Go ahead. Listen, I mean, it says she look at. Oh, y'all, I will sit. So
yeah, but no, that's good, because what I want to focus on is like what you said, as far as allowing him to give us those desires, because sometimes we try to work them up.
No, that's real.
We try to work up the desires on our own, and we get frustrated like, okay, well, this just ain't for me. Obviously this ain't what God want me to do. And I feel like it's because we didn't trust him enough to allow him to work the desires in our heart.
Yeah. We didn't trust him enough to believe the scripture that his plans for us are good. His plans for us are to prosper us. His plans for us aren't to harm us. And when we can trust in that, when we can sit in that, then we can allow God to give us the desires of our heart. Then, even when pooey situations, I need to come up with some more words, arise in our lives, we can still trust in his word, trust in his character, that he is not, like, he's not here to harm me. He's here to prosper me, give me a hope and a future. And we need to just start trusting in that, letting go of our own plans. I dare you to put your desires on the altar. I've done this so many times. I dare you to put your desires on the altar. God, here these are. Here are my desires. X, Y, and Z. Only give me back what you have for me. I ain't gonna go and I ain't gonna pick it up.
Right.
But I'm gonna allow you, God. Take out what's me and put what's you. I say that all the time.
That's a good prayer.
Remove me. Replace it with you. And allow him to give it back to you. And see what happens.
That's good. So it's kind of like giving God all your stuff and let him sort through it.
Okay, for real.
This me. Oh, this you. You can have that. Well, actually, give me that. We're gonna throw that in trash. Yeah. So that's really good, and I feel like it's necessary. I also feel like the problem comes in. We live in a society that's I guess I'll say like a go-getter society, like a society that's constantly doing. And sometimes we doing, but ain't nothing happen. But that's a different conversation. But but yeah, we live in like that type of society. So I feel like it makes it hard.
I'm sorry,
it makes it hard for people to rest in God because you always feel like you need to be doing something. Like, and I feel like that's another hindrance. Like, it's like, when God ain't moving fast enough, you ain't trying to rest. You trying to go get it. You got to have it now. I got to work. I got to get to it. And that's cool. But I feel like we should partner with God on that and then let him do his thing. Yeah. Instead of just, refusing to rest in him.
Yeah. The rest in God is doing something.
Right.
And we need to rewire our brain we need to reframe, LOL. We need to deconstruct our picture of what rest is and then rebuild it. Does that make sense?
It does.
So it's true. We live in a society. I remember a period in my life where I'm just like, Jesus, because if I'm anything, I'm going to go get it. Okay, I'm going to go. We going to. And I remember there was a time in my life where God slowed me all the way down. Like, sat me down. Okay, there wasn't even no walking. Okay, I wasn't even crawling.
Right.
Can we just talk about it? Like, I wasn't even crawling, and it drove me up the wall. But it wasn't. I couldn't rest in that until I deconstructed my picture of what rest was, and I realized that me resting is me doing something, because nothing might not be happening on the outside, but everything is happening on the inside.
That's good.
And it's what God does. Okay, y'all about to be so mad at me, but it's what God does on the inside that helps you maintain what he does on the outside. And so maybe could it be, y'all really about to be mad at me that you ain't going nowhere because your character cannot sustain where you trying to get where you want God to take you. And so in God's grace, okay, y'all really about to be mad at me. In his mercy and his love, he done sat you all the way down and say, you just not going to move until I work out those character issues, those flaws that are in you, until I work them out, till I put my word in you. So you going to stay seated right there. And you can keep fighting it, and you can keep trying to make it happen, keep trying to make it come to fruition, but it's not going to until you sit down and you hold up a mirror and you allow me to work out that stuff that's on the inside of you.
That's good, because I feel like doing it any other way just is counterproductive, and it prolongs the process. I would rather God sit me all the way down and I rest in his work, what he's doing in me, than to be moving fast and going nowhere fast. So that's good.
Yeah, very much so. And so we need to examine. Oh, there's my dog. I was looking for him. I'm like, where's the dog at? What he done got into? Like,
he kept looking around.
Right, like, where he too quiet? He too quiet. Dogs like toddlers.
Right, they really are.
Like, high key.
They really are.
What was I saying?
Girl, I don't even remember. I can't even help you out because I done forgot.
Yeah.
It sounded like it was going to be good, though.
Yeah, well.
I know we was talking about resting.
Oh, yeah. We need to take some time to examine. Where was I going? To examine what we have our trust in. There it is. Because we trust in something. So what is it that you have what is your trust in? Is it in God? Is it in your own ability? Okay. Is it in your money? Is it in your man, your girl, your boo thing? Is it in your parents? Is it in your career? Where have you put your trust? I got questions.
You need to transfer that, whatever your trust is in, from that to God.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think we need to address this. Okay, I hear you. I think that we need to address what trusting God, I guess we're doing that in the next episode, huh? Really is like. I'm screaming. Yeah. Yeah. Because I'm curious as to, my brain be moving so fast when I be doing this stuff sometimes. Because I'm curious as to if we don't really understand what trust, what it looks like. And so see, I can't stand social media.
Why not?
Because it just irks my soul. Because it's a place where people come and they dump their highlights. Mm-hmm. And I forget who put it like this, but basically he was like, and we're comparing our behind the scenes to somebody else's highlights. Right. And then we're depressed and we're anxious and we're feeling less than and we're feeling worthless and, you know.
That's good. Are you done? I was just going to say, I was watching our pastor's his service that he does every Wednesday night. I was watching it the other night, and he kind of touched on that at the end, how like we all use social media, but sometimes it can appear as people are really living the life and, you know, doing things that we want to be doing when really we're just getting, like you said, the highlights. So he used the example. He was like, even me, he said, I look at some of these churches and I see that they're filled and packed out every Sunday, but little did I know that's from Easter. They're using a clip from Easter, and they're literally posting the same clip every Sunday. So now I don't know.
That is crazy.
I don't know if it's, you know, a literal story or not, but when you said that, I thought about it because I was like, wow. Yeah. Like he was like, you know, he'd be looking at churches and he'd be like, wow, they pack every Sunday just for it to be a clip from Easter and something that they post every single week.
That is crazy.
So yeah, that's just one of many examples.
Exactly. And so that's exactly where I was going. Because now we are taking what we see on social media. Oh my gosh, this person made a post on how they just trusted God and they got the house. You know what? I'm getting myself together. But you know, they have these posts where they trusted God and all of this, you know, came to fruition, or you know, yay me, I trusted God. And we're comparing, our day to day of trusting God to their final picture of what trusting God birthed in them. That's
good. And I wish more people would talk about the process. Like when you go to post, I trust God and now I got this I can't talk. The house of my dreams, the spouse of my dreams, or whatever the case may be. I wish more people was honest about the process and what it took to get there.
Exactly.
Because, yeah.
And that's why I don't post on social media.
Oh, girl, I don't either, girl. It ain't nothing but cobwebs on all my social media.
Facts. Like, that's exactly why I don't
and,
post
you know,
on social
I'm learning
media.
that I'm really not caring for it more and more, like, as I get older. Like, I don't know. I scroll so fast through stuff. Yeah. Like, I be about to break my finger trying to scroll past. I literally don't care about, like, 90% of what's going on social media. I have my little group of people that, you know, I keep up with kind of, sort of, but that's about it. Like, because everybody else, they be fronting.
They be doing the most. They supposed to be doing the absolute most on social media, literally. And so stop comparing. Can we just stop comparing? Okay, I was about to, just say what I was going to say. Because that's going to be a whole...
I'm weak.
That was about to be a whole tangent left. So I lost my train of thought. Can we stop comparing? Like, sometimes, maybe you need to go on a social media fast. Scrub all your social media. Get off of social media and just allow it to be you and God. Allow it to be you and reality.
Oh, it makes a huge difference.
Yes.
Because, you know, that fast we had did, what was it, last month? Whenever it was, and, you know, it was a requirement to kind of stay on social media. Like, it made a huge difference. Now, I peep in every now and then, you know, but I tried to be consistent with it. But it really did. It made a huge difference. When it's just you and God, and you cut down on that social media time, I feel like you would be amazed at, like, how closer you get to God, how you trust Him more.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Yeah. And it clears up this is such another tangent, but it clears up so much time to do other stuff.
It does.
Like, how much time do we spend just scrolling on social media? Go learn a skill. Right. Y'all just got mad at me. Go do something productive. Right. Instead of just scrolling on social media and now I hate myself. and now I'm insecure, and now, you know, I'm anxious, and now I'm whatever the case may be. Get off social, problem solve. We should end this. We should end this. We should end this.
That's true though.
Because like the definition of insanity is doing the same thing.
Expecting a different result.
Yes. How often are we doing the same thing?
Literally.
And expecting a different result.
And then 9 times out of 10, ain't nothing new, ain't nothing changed. We literally just scrolling, seeing the same stuff.
Yes. Yeah. But yet I wonder why I don't trust God, and yet I wonder why my faith weak, and yet I wonder why I'm insecure, and I wonder why I ain't got no confidence, and
That's good.
I just got so annoyed.
I do want to say this though. I feel like our age group was born like at the perfect time, because we was kind of on that cusp of when social media was just kind of getting introduced, and when we didn't have it. So I appreciate like actually having a real childhood.
Yeah, going outside.
Going outside and touching grass. Yeah, you know, like some of y'all need to go outside and touch some grass. But but anyway, I digress. But yeah, just having a real childhood, like it made a difference. Like, cause I look at some of these kids today, and it's like I'm pretty sure you see it all the time. Like teenagers with low self-esteem, suicidal,
facts,
all of that, all because of what they seen on social media.
Literally,
cyberbullying. It's just ridiculous. It's crazy. Yeah. So it could be a tool. It could be a good and a bad thing depending on how you use it. But. Yeah.
Very much so. Depending on your mind. How do we end up on social media? I got questions. I don't even remember how we ended up there. But yeah, that and social media, just get yourself together. Okay? Put up boundaries with social media. Okay? Like, and trust God.
Right? And trust God while you're at it.
I'm screaming. So, yeah. Anything else you want to say?
That's all I got.
All right, bet. That's all I got. I'm screaming. That's all I got, too. So, you sure?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
all right, bet. So, some of you guys, this idea of trusting in God, some of us may be struggling in our trust with God. Some of us maybe feel like our relationship with God has gotten a little stale, it's gotten a little stagnant, need a little seasoning on it. If that is you, click the link in the description. We have a free tool for you. It's called the 5 Ways to Deepen Your Relationship with God. And if you put in the work and you do the things that are suggested and you are consistent with it, and you turn it into a habit, it will kickstart your relationship with God. You'll start to feel closer to Him, start to feel more passionate about your walk with Him. So click the link in the description. Go get your free copy. It's literally free. Cost you nothing. Okay, what you got to lose? I don't know. So yes, do that. Please do us a favor. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share. I always miss one. Do all of that for us. Let's get this message out. And it's time to take over. Okay,
right. And trust God.
Right. Time to take over and trust God. Right. And that's it. That's all. So be blessed.
All right. KP out.
KP out.